Good evening, everybody. You're all welcome to this press conference. Yes, we are going to address a very contentious and very serious issue that is facing the world. Indeed, has been facing it for some time. That is the vast, toothless organization known as the United Nations. Is it fit for purpose in the 21st century? But before I get into that, I'm going to speak to you very briefly about the history of the United Nations. It was founded in 1945. Its charter was drawn up between April and June of that year. President D. Roosevelt and the Allies felt that the League of Nations needed a more substantial body to succeed it. And thus was founded the United Nations, as that was the name given to the Allies at that time. The purpose for its founding was that it was to provide the world with global security and that no nation could in fact perpetrate a crime against humanity and no leader on behalf of that nation, and that everybody as members of that nation, as in the 58 members at the time of its foundation and the 198 members that exist today, that they would not sit idly by and allow piracy, pillaging, rape, torture, the invasion of sovereign states, ethnic cleansing, murder, all in front of our noses. We as a global population, ladies and gentlemen, we are being desensitized. There was only one good era in its entire history, and that was during the era of Gorbachev and Reagan, when the 5 permanent members worked in tandem and together. And during that period, there was great global peace. Today we say and we sit and we watch as the 5 permanent members vote against every single resolution tabled if it's not in their interest. We look at Russia recently, obstructing every resolution to aid the Syrians in their fight for democracy and freedom and transparency. Why? Because the Russians have a deep-sea port called Tartus in Syria. How many people know that? They really maybe just don't know it. And even if they do know it, the global population is absolutely powerless. We as a global population are looking to large bodies like the United Nations to lead. They are not leading. Look at Rwanda. On the 7th of April in 1994, in the late 20th century, you had 1 million people slaughtered in 100 days. And yes, there were boots on the ground, the peacekeepers, with the United Nations hat on, but they had no mandate. Does that not leave blood on the hands of the United Nations? Today, I believe that it is very possible to have a root and branch change in that vast organization. It's too big. It's unaccountable. It has ambassadors that just carry out the policies of their government. That's useless. There is no goodwill for mankind. And when there is no goodwill, and the interest of each of the 5 permanent members comes ahead of humanity, in my view, it is useless and toothless, and has proved to be just all of that. Now, if they can expel Putin from the G8, remove his credit ratings, and downgrade his currency, anything is possible. All it takes is one good man. Has he been born? We don't know. but we hope he has. For humanity's sake, we really need somebody who shall stand up to this vast organization and understand that in the global interest of security, that it now needs to have some teeth. And I suggest that if 5 permanent members were equal to 58 members at his foundation, there should be at least 20 permanent members. The power of the veto should be removed. Resolutions should be passed and debated. There can be a voting power, and it has to be democratic. But the self-interest of the permanent members has to be taken out of the equation. And only when that is done can this organization remain intact. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, we have to start from scratch, just like President D. Roosevelt and the Allies, which includes Britain and France, will have to be participants yet again in the formation of a new successor institution. Thank you very much.